meeting to order. I'll ask the recorder treasurer to call the roll.
Barnes. Hastings.
Here.
Lynch.
Here.
Pistol.
Here.
Ward.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
I'll entertain a motion second to approve the agenda as presented.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll say that. Discussion. I'll ask for a roll call.
Hastings.
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes.
Pistol.
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Also, Karen, you have the September 8th and 22nd financials. I'll entertain a motion second to approve
Minutes.
minutes and, I'm
That's
sorry,
the
minutes
minutes.
and financials as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I'll ask for a roll call.
Hastings.
Yes.
Lynch.
Yes.
Pistol.
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Brings us to airport. Jason Hayes is not with us tonight. I missed the last meeting. Susan Fox was in today, said not a lot of things happened, discussed. I have 3 people presented for replacing a commissioner on the airport commission. Entertain anybody else that wants to do. I'm not gonna make a move on that. We'll just wait, maybe do that in the December meeting, see how that comes out. And that'll probably best serve the community, just wait till December.
Do we have any candidates for that yet, or?
What's that?
Do we have any candidates for
Yeah,
that?
I have 3.
Okay.
I have 3 of them. And I was gonna wait and see, never know, see what shakes out in November, we'll see. That we'll still have those 3. Anyone else that you wanna mention, that'd probably be most fair. That's all I have on airport. Brings us to animal control. I think our pump's due in on the 7th next month to the 9th. I think I said down there, I called in there today, 7th to the 9th. We'll see how that works out. Interview, got 3 candidates for that position of manager. When I talked to him in late October, early November, Charles been putting on some doors. We got a new garage door. Also, still working on payments, back payments to the city from the trust. I don't know if we got anywhere on that with, I know we've been paying out. We still have money in that account, but we're still looking to be reimbursed for that, so.
So I called Eddie Morgan. Eddie Morgan's the trust attorney. I called Eddie's office. He's been out quite a bit. Talked to Crystal, who's his secretary, and kind of walked through what our questions were and waiting for an answer from Eddie, so.
Okay. Also, I'd like to talk with Sam and Jeff and Dewey, get back out there like we did and kind of have a little workshop and a walkthrough and decide. I just penciled in some dates, Thursday the 25th or Tuesday the 25th of this month. And we can decide on that at the end of the meeting, whenever y'all want to meet out there, or any other time, but that kind of work out pretty good for me. Or whatever else, talk about, kind of lock in, so the next meeting we'll know, here's how many days we want to have to keep these animals, what's our maximum capacity, and who we have in mind for a manager. And then we can kind of include that in our budget talks. We'll set that budget date toward the end of this meeting. I think that's all I had. Charles, you have anything to add on animal control? I know you've been
We got
working.
the doors finished up today and they all work pretty good. They fit. It was tough, but
The insulation guys come in that last week and this month. I think we're ready for that, so.
they put in a vent hood system too, so.
Yeah, it's got its own vent system that you kind of in-house built, which is really good. It kind of, it won't be.
Take the pressure off that ceiling and pulling in rain.
I'm not complaining about the price. Insulation probably about $3,500 to $4,000, I think he said. And he's pretty firm on that. Anything for me on animal control? Like I say, Jeff and Sam, you can do it, y'all can holler at me toward the end of this meeting or when we get done. Find out the best date. Excuse me. Brings us down to fire department, Chief D.L. Webb.
First thing, I want to thank Charles for saving my life. Betty Jean's moving some lines, and they were shutting the stoplight off at Walmart. They asked me to come out there and direct traffic, and I'm so glad he got it hooked up to a generator. We were running off generator instead of me out in the middle of the highway. We got a car fire this month in front of Justin's Collision. It's an antique car. Got to put a new muffler on it. Got hot on him going down the road and destroyed a very nice car. Had a vehicle roll over in front of Howard's Antique. We had to use the jaws on to get them out. We assisted Culpeper with a grass fire out on Highway 336 West, right there at the cutoff road. vehicle hit a gas main right in front of Roller McNutt area up there on a Saturday morning. Blocked traffic for a while till Summit could get there to fix it. The next morning, had a call for a CO2 leak at McDonald's. A couple of people had gotten sick and went down there and checked that out. Had a fire alarm call at the hospital, power had blinked because they were changing out the lines, caused the alarm to go off. And we had a 2-vehicle accident over on Burnt Ridge Road. We had to use the jaws on to help get somebody out. Fire inspections, we've inspected the new Mexican restaurant. If you hadn't ate there, it's really good. If you can get in, they're very packed. Also done the Head Start daycare out on Highway 95 West. We are under a burn ban still, even though we had a little bit of rain yesterday. Have had a couple of calls. I've had to go talk to a couple of people about burning. We've done a hose test on our trucks except one. We still like one truck to do, which we hope to get in by the end of the year. Took the fire truck out to Main Street Kids. Me and Richie took it out there. It was one of those that they wanted to show the kids fire trucks, so we took it out just to show the kids at the daycare. Then we had 3 trucks, including the new, well, 3 including the new ladder truck set up for the homecoming parade. That went real well. Spent 3 days out at the fairgrounds during the fair with the new ladder truck. The schools brought Clinton, Southside, and Shirley school kids from kindergarten to 4th grade, something like that, so they got to see our new truck. We are getting ready for Scare on the Square, which will be, we're just gonna do Halloween night, that Monday night, 31st. So I'd like to request y'all to allow me to shut the streets down 5:30-ish until everybody's going home.
Entertain a motion, a second, to shut the streets down associated with Scare on the Square from 5:30 until closing time.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? I'll ask for a vote.
Hastings,
Yes.
Lynch,
Yes.
Pistol,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Thank you. We do have a couple properties we're looking at for a possible new fire station. There is a kind of a time issue that we have on one of them, so I would like to set up some sort of meeting with y'all, workshop, whatever you want to call it, to look at these properties and make a move on one of them, if we so choose the one, because there is a time issue on it. So,
When would you, next week, as soon as next week, or? All that is, I think fire is Sammy and Tim, but you probably include everybody.
I would like to have a meeting with everybody in case there could be a vote, possibly a special meeting, have a vote that night, because there is a possibility of a time issue.
You want to talk to them, then call everybody in the next week, is that doable for everybody? By next Thursday or something?
I've got a school board Monday, meeting Monday night. Tuesday night would be really good if anybody do it Tuesday night.
I'm fine, just, I'll leave it up to you and the council to check your schedules. That sounded okay with, yeah, Tuesday?
We can have an animal control meeting that night too, afterwards.
Yeah, we can. I think it'd be, I need
Be a little early.
a couple of things on that. Well, we'll do that, sure.
Yeah.
Tuesday?
Tuesday's great
10
for me.
what's that?
18th Tuesday, I mean, like this coming Tuesday, the 18th?
Yeah.
Yes,
What date is that?
like I said, the 18th.
18th.
What time and where?
I'm free, whatever's good for y'all. 5:30, here.
Fire station?
Fire station. where-
Yeah.
Is that-
The downtown fire station?
I would meet, what if we meet at the South Station?
Or South
Because that's
Station.
where,
Well, that's
we gotta
fine.
have the recording stuff.
Yeah, plus, are you gonna try to
Oh.
do your animal control thing there?
No,
Okay, you're not, okay,
that'd be after,
Yeah.
if we did that.
okay.
Yeah, I would just kind of go out there and kind of walk through that.
Whatever's convenient, having the.
Let's do it at City Hall. If you got it, if you'll record it, or leave it right here.
It don't matter, just wherever you take that.
Let's just say right here. Is everybody good with that?
For the fire meeting Tuesday night, we're talking about,
Oh,
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Before, we need to go look at it, you're saying, before we decide. You want us to go look at them and then maybe have a special meeting, right?
I've taken the mayor out to look at the properties, and we're gonna look at one tomorrow.
yeah. Be fine.
But
I want them to see it. That's why I said Thursday, give everybody a little bit of time, but
I mean, Tuesday's fine. we
I
might
just
need to
wanna
go
make
look
sure
at it and then
everybody-
come back.
Both properties are real close together,
Yeah.
so if you wanna get there at, say, 5 o'clock, we can look at both of them.
Just do that,
Maybe
do it the
5:30.
day of,
Okay.
5 o'clock, meet at, City Hall,
We meet at the South Fire Station.
okay.
Yeah, I can meet you all there at 5.
Out there by
Be
the,
a little after.
5 o'clock at the, out by the four-way at the
Yes, sir.
transfer station,
That'd be
that
fine.
fire department. Everybody good with that?
Do my best. I'm in Little Rock that day,
You said Tuesday, right?
Yes, sir.
but try to get back by
And the only
5.
reason I'm saying that is there is a time restraint on one of them that we need to, if that's something we want to look at, we need to move pretty quick on.
That's why you want to.
Yes, sir.
Well, just do what you can, if not,
Is
you
the
go
meeting at?
I mean, I've looked at it, so,
Or you're looking at?
5 o'clock,
At 5 o'clock, we'll meet there just to show both properties,
yeah,
and then 5:30 would be the actual meeting start.
surely I can get back by 5:30.
Where you want the meeting? City Hall?
City Hall.
probably easier, wouldn't it? Okay, 5 is on the,
So we'll meet out there at 5, then by 5:30, we can be at the City Hall. Okay, I'm with you.
All right.
Other than that, I don't have anything else, unless y'all have any questions.
yeah, all I have was motion second to close that down, which you did, it's Carolyn Square under fire. And I just put ambulance, I mentioned that, but that was last done, it was emergency service, it was county decided on the ambulance service.
That's another reason why I'd like to meet as quick as possible.
Yeah, any, thing else under fire for Chief Webb? Thank you. Bring us down to parks, Charles Wilson.
Not a whole lot going on at the park, grass is slowed down, there's not enough water in the river to run the pump for the pond, so pray for rain, we need some water, everybody needs water. We've been out bush hogging, we've done a little bit of bush hogging, very cautiously. Cleaned up some areas, picked up the trash, had some community service guys. They done an excellent job cutting out Moss Street, going down through there. We got the corner of Main and Moss all done, and got the drainage fixed, and got the wall up, and got it all paved in. Helped the bank, they've got 8 lights over there that they're gonna replace. So we helped them remove some of their trees and grind them up, so we wouldn't have a bunch of brush, and they give us those 8 lights, which we can patch and fix some of our other lights that are bad, so I was like grateful for that. Other than that, anybody got any questions?
I just put, the reunion went well.
Yeah, it went pretty
Went
decent.
really
It was
well.
fun.
Mark Story and Shelley Merriman won the football game, chili cook-off with that, worked out really well, I thought. I think they've established something, the dance went really well. It's just, I think that's gonna be a yearly event, have a homecoming, so it's well done.
For putting up Christmas lights, I probably need to get started on that. I think they're wanting to do the lighting on the 4th.
4th,
Yeah, December 4th, isn't it? 3rd or 4th? 3rd. So
yeah,
I'm gonna have to get busy.
right.
My favorite time of year.
People hanging them always want another week. People selling stuff want them up and home.
Yeah, I
So
need.
that usually carries the day.
Because
Anything, you can just jump into streets, is there nothing else under parks, streets? That's all.
pretty much covered both of them there.
Okay, all right. I have something under streets, a TAP grant finally got underway up there at school. I'm requesting to move, or allow to transfer $20,389.29 from line item in admin, grant development and grants, grants and development to the street department, TAP grant line item. That way we can keep up with the amount. This is an 80-20. The state said that the city will have to front the money. State will give us back 80%. Clinton School make the difference up for the other 20%. So we'll get 100% of that back. I just entertain a motion a second to be able to transfer from one line item to the other and be prepared to pay it out of
To
that.
pay that bill for McIntyre Construction.
Yes, to pay McIntyre Construction.
Which line item we paying, transfer out of?
What's that?
Which line item are we transferring from?
Grants and development.
Grants and development and admin, it's TAP, it's under TAP grant on the street department.
Make
I
a
think we
move,
have 3,000 left in that out of 7.
make a move, we,
$580.
I'm so moved. I'll second.
Any other discussion? I'll ask for a vote.
Hastings,
Yes.
Lynch,
Yes.
Pistol,
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Oh, I also have under this, if we need to read into the minutes, situation on Rogers and Barosia Street. I think we had talked about that. Speed bumps or not, that's on the agenda for the January meeting. But did we put anything
All the
up?
signage is up.
Okay,
Signs come in, they're all up. Got 3 speed limit signs, 3 no through traffic signs up, 3 slow children at play,
what are the speed limits on
15.
15 miles an hour? I don't think we just read into the minutes that we've done that, or we need, okay.
Did we set that limit, or was that the state limit?
We said it.
We set
Yeah,
it.
well, I guess we're setting it now.
Well, yeah, do a motion.
We have to make a motion to do it, or?
No, the code, the rules of the road basically is the speed limit is 25 miles unless otherwise posted, so you want to otherwise post it. There's no formal ordinance or resolution, but I would think it would probably be good if you just did a motion, if someone do a motion in a second and pass it by voice vote for the minutes.
Well, I make a motion that we change the speed limit over there on Barosia Street. Barosia Street?
And
Rogers.
Street, 15 miles per hour.
Motion, second, to change the speed limit to 15 on Barosia and Rogers. Second.
trying.
Second, Sam, any other discussion? I'll ask for a vote.
Hastings,
Yes.
Lynch,
Yes.
Pistol,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Charles, you ever get the state surplus website, like listing, you know, they
I don't
send
have
you?
internet or
Oh, well,
I could use some internet so I could shop and do some stuff. It'd be awesome. I'm usually too busy to eat. But
we,
they got some cool stuff. I know that.
I seen one, it come through this morning, and there was, I don't remember how many, that don't stay long usually, like 40-foot poles, or may not have been 40-foot poles, and LED lights. I don't know if we could use them anywhere.
Yeah, I've got a spot for them. That's a project.
They were $400 to $600.
Is-
I don't remember, I think they were like $400 to $600.
That's a good price.
That's, the pole was so much and the light was so much. I don't remember exactly, but it was on there this morning. I could probably
Yeah, there's
look it up.
a project coming up next month. I'm gonna try to get some figures on it and try to get some new power and some new stuff fixed. But we'll,
Anything else for Chief Wilson? Thank you. Brings us to Police Department report, Chief Jay Haddock.
Well, Chief Webb took about half my thunder, so I was gonna talk about the vehicle accidents we had. Seems like we had quite a few, and I do appreciate the chief and his guys helping us out with traffic control on that.
Yep.
Other than that, just been working. We've had the Secret Service came in and did counterfeit currency training for our guys this month. We got a grant from Walmart through Bucking for the Blue. We're gonna start issuing our guys Narcan as soon as we can get them the online 2-hour training. So we'll start carrying that. Only other thing, we've been advertising for some positions. Originally it was 1 position, now it's 2. My detective is, his last day is Friday. He's gonna go take over as CID over to county, so we're hiring for 2 positions. I need to buy a couple radios. The quote from Arkansas Valley was $2,100. We got that in our special equipment fund. I just want to let you know, the radios that we're carrying are the ones we bought probably 12 years ago. They're starting to wear out. I just want to let you guys, make sure you guys are okay that we do that. I had originally at the first of the year, that's why our special equipment was a little higher than it normally is, because I knew I was gonna have to get some, so we'll probably be ordering those tomorrow, if you guys are okay with that.
Is your money there for it?
Yes, sir.
Any objections from anyone? Okay.
Uh,
Bucking for the Blue is when, the 20?
Saturday.
That's Saturday.
This, that,
And we do encourage you guys to go out, show support. It's a good time. My first time was last year. It's a real good time out there at the Oak Ranch. The only other thing I've got, with those 2 vacancies, I talked to Mistina about my remaining guys, moving them up into those higher pay slots due to their seniority. And Mistina said because they're, I guess, tasked to those specific officers, I needed a motion to second, and y'all's approval to move those guys up on the next one.
Entertain a motion second to move the other 2 officers up into these slots available.
Yes, sir.
Make a motion. Second?
Any discussion? I'll ask for a vote.
Hastings,
Yes.
Lynch,
Yes.
Pistol,
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
That's pretty well I got, except to loop back on animal control. We've had 5 calls for animal control, but obviously we haven't picked up any animals.
Pretty much, there's been 5 calls every month for the last 2 or 3 months. Is it the same, roughly the same calls happening once a month, or?
Well, what it is, last month was actually a typo on my report. I had to kind of rush that one out because I was in the middle of, between 2 trainings. Last month was actually 8. I caught a couple of reports that I'd missed in my report system. But this month was actually 5 because I was the one that took all 5 of them. A couple of barking dog calls, one was a loose dog that we just picked up, drove around, hey, this your dog? Oh, yeah, it is, thanks. So that's,
Right.
it's nothing been super major. We haven't had any, well, anything major involving animals where we're gonna actually need the animal shelter
Right.
at this moment. But yeah, I apologize, last month.
No,
was a
that's
typo.
okay. I just wondered how, if it's the same people calling every month, or if it's different things.
A lot of times it's different things. A lot of what we get is 2 o'clock in the morning, dogs barking. Or like one we had was a guy was walking his dog off leash. And then a guy's pit bull got off the cable, lunged at the dog. Nobody got hurt, no dogs got hurt. But obviously the guy was upset that his off-leash dog was attacked by another off-leash dog.
Right.
So it was kind of, hey guys, we got an ordinance, you guys have to do this. So that's pretty much what we've been getting.
I don't see many dogs walking around in town.
There's that red one that no one can catch apparently.
I have tried every morning for 2 weeks now.
Me too.
The one by Exxon,
Yeah,
yeah. But he loves the sausage biscuits down there,
pretty sharp.
so.
He's a moment.
So you're buying him one every morning?
Yeah,
Be there every
okay,
morning.
I mean,
Yeah, man, we'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll help you.
yeah,
Scott's back working on his dad pass. so-
yeah, Scott was out for a few days for bereavement leave. His dad did pass. And he seems to be doing okay, so we're just gotta keep an eye on him, make sure he's all right.
I think he's back to ticket writing.
He was, yes, sir.
No, I got a call, he got somebody.
Yeah, he got a bunch of somebody's today. I think yeah.
Anything else for the chief? Thank you, brings us to Water and Sewer Department report, Will Hinchey.
All right, chemical cost was down a little bit this month. We were 11 cents a thousand, and which is hard to believe because water loss was up a little bit. We're 27% for Clinton, 15% at Burnt Ridge, which is down, and Denard's 15%. So we've had a lot of breakage and stuff here lately, last couple of months really. So hopefully we'll get that water loss back down. We were 21% there for about 2 months, and now we jumped up to 27. So sorry, I just couldn't make myself drop it without reason. Few things that I wanted to talk to you guys about. There's been a lot of talk here lately still about taking a bond out. We've been checking the interest rates and stuff. You know, we'd be real close to 5%. 5% on $10 million is a lot of money. So I've been looking at how much we've got that we could use to do projects and stuff like that. In the construction fund, I got 1.5 in there right now, but just for construction. And then I've got a few line items here that are pretty much just cash flow that we could use on projects, and a couple we could use with permission from the city council. We've got an infrastructure one for water lines, and we also got an infrastructure one for sewer. There's a little over 200 in both of those, and then total just not counting those two with, city council permission that you guys control, we got right at 2.1 out there. That now that 2.1 is all the way going back to like 2008, once we drained that water and sewer account, we drained it completely out and then started making a few improvements. And so since then, that's what we've got as far as just expenditure money that we can do projects on right now, is that 2.1.
That's including the 1.5.
That's including the 1.5 and some depreciation accounts.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't know, when we talk budget, you'll certainly come in there, but bond is pretty scary right now.
Yeah. Now, I would like to do something, do a couple of projects and just show that we're doing due diligence to improve. We do have a couple of things that we won't have a choice on. Of course, they're doing the highway widening here on 16 down by PD Bridge. So that's being engineered and everything, looking into it. We're not gonna be out a whole bunch. I think we're gonna have to pay for like 30% of that project, and then the rest of it's out of right of way, so we'll be
What
reimbursed.
does that equate to? You don't know yet?
We don't know the exact numbers, so I don't have anything for you yet. We've taken in what the highway department projected, and then our engineers would counter back on what actual costs might be, and then they agree, but we don't have those numbers yet. But we do have that, and then, of course, we're working on the CAP project for the water treatment plant with the cadmium. So, I mean, there's money right there.
Gosh.
So, right now, deciding on what projects are more important, I don't know if we're ready for that, because we don't know what we're gonna have after we do that. Now, we have been approved for our testing plan for the cadmium. That ADEQ has approved the plan that we've submitted, and we have sent out asking for a quote. Now, we're not really bidding it out because the plan was drawn up that a certain company would be doing the testing. But we're still waiting for them to tell us how much it's gonna cost. They're gonna set up 5 different testing stations throughout the city. Some of them's gonna be at the lift stations, our outfall. That one company is gonna pull the sample, and then that sample is gonna be divvied out. The 3 different ADEQ is gonna test it, the company that we're using, which is American Interplex, and then the company that we're currently contracted under, with is ESC. All 3 of those are gonna test each one of those samples to see if we really have a cadmium problem.
You feel good about that?
I think it's a lot cheaper doing that than just taking
Yeah, I mean,
ESC's
yeah.
word and saying we have a cadmium problem, because when we had FTN come in and do the samples, trying to figure out what the cadmium was, they showed we had no cadmium. And this American Interplex is the one that done all the testing. So ADEQ has approved that they do the sampling, pulling, sample, ADEQ samples, that same sample, and ESC. So if we get like a 2 out of 3, we might show that it was bad
And
sampling.
FTN doesn't weigh into the mix anymore.
FTN's out of it. They are an engineering firm that ADEQ actually uses to do testing and stuff, or do background studies. So that's why we hired them. They've done their part and we've paid them, and now we presented this plan,
Okay.
and it's been
And
approved.
use them to get
Yeah.
the plan going. Okay.
Now, we did apply, of course, you guys as a council voted in that we would do a pre-registration for the ARPA money through ANRC, and that money has been released by the governor. So now we've done the actual applications and submitting them, and there was just a few line items. What we did is we just took what we felt would meet what they were wanting, what they would actually fund as far as grant money, and we took it off a 10-year plan. So on the water side, we did the water treatment cap, clear well rehab at the water treatment plant, tank rehab, water line replacement, and on that I've got 2 line items wrote under that. We've already engineered the replacement of Razorback and 95 West. Those are 2 we've already paid for engineering on, so I think we might start there. And then pump station rehab. And then on the wastewater side, you got the cap at the wastewater plant, cadmium, the irrigation fields, Archie Creek reline location, we put that in there. That's a pretty big expenditure. Manhole rehab and sewer line rehab, and I think they're pretty important because
That's our infiltration.
we got a lot of infiltration. So we're spending so much money. If ADEQ tells us we can't use the spray fields anymore, we're gonna be running our wastewater plant 24 hours a day. I mean, every day. So for all year, and we only run them like 3 months right now.
I find
And the
it
chemical
hard to
cost is
believe
gonna
that you
go up so
couldn't
much.
Land the plot. after
what?
40 years, or however many, I find that hard to believe that you can't.
AEQ keeps raising the regulations
I know,
and
I was-
they don't care how much it costs. We went to them, we talked to them about how we don't have the money. They don't care. Their reaction to what I said about it, we don't have the money, is I will come to your board meeting and I will make you come
Well,
up with the money.
they also said that they were the ones helping us run the interference for the EPA, and maybe,
Yeah.
that's true, but, yeah, I'd love for them to come to the board meeting, just,
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't have it, you don't.
But we're trying to prove, we're actually doing studies. I'm gonna go out with Don Richardson tomorrow, and he's gonna do some soil sampling and everything that the AEQ's want. So, I mean, we're working on trying to please AEQ and prove to them that we're still being safe and we can still spray over there, so. There's been some good changes in that too, just the way that it's done, so. But I just wanna bring that stuff to your attention. I didn't want it to be a surprise to you, but we have, taking a big bond out right now would be hard. But maybe with some of this ARPA money, which would be, right now, we've looked at our debt to income ratio and we might be eligible for a 50-50. So whatever they did grant, we would have to do 50 loan through ANRC, somewhere around maybe a 2.5%, which would be a lot less.
5 and 5, 5 on the water and 5 on the sewer.
Yeah, we actually applied, what we said that those were gonna cost is, 5.1 apiece, one for, or 5.1 for the wastewater side and 5.1 for the water.
Did I understand that you say that some of that'll be 50-50, will there be any 100%, or is that
No,
ARPA?
no, we don't qualify with our debt to income ratio for 100%.
Okay. Anything else for the water department?
I got a question. How's that line, that new water line we put over in Honey Hills, how's that holding up over in Memory Lane?
The main trunk line, we don't have a whole lot of trouble with. A few of the outside lines coming off of it, we still have issues with. And then, of course, that's the main trunk line feeding off 16 there. And we haven't really had any trouble with it. Of course, over around Adrian and out past it, we have, because we didn't go that far
We didn't go
that last.
Where we replaced, we haven't had trouble with that, have we?
I haven't worked on anything we've replaced except a service line. We had one service line.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm talking about the water line, our water line, not the
Yes.
service, yeah.
Yeah, well, we supposedly, I wasn't here then, but about 5 years ago, we replaced that main trunk line and the services that went underneath the road. And
Oh.
we've actually had to go back and work on one of those services.
Okay. How far out 95 you going with the new line?
So it'll go, with this new line, what's been engineered is just what's on Jennings tank. It's on the old AC leaving right there from the, not four-way, but right there at the three-way that turns off 65B and goes out 95. So to go to there, and there's an end fire hydrant, and then from that point is where the line comes off of 16 and goes out towards you and Dan and out that way.
Okay.
So that would be what's been engineered, is that
How
right
far
there?
from the intersection?
I want to say,
Past the highway department?
yeah, past the highway department.
Yeah, to the car wash.
Right, well, from the car wash, it'd be on past the fire, or the highway department right there, yeah. And just guys, it's never been done this way, and I don't know why it isn't. There's about 4 foot in between one water line and the other one. The one that comes off 16 comes, and 90's right there and goes on out 95, and then the one that comes from town ends at a fire hydrant, and they're about 4 foot apart. I've always said, and once I learned that it done that, is you ought to put a valve right there and have 2 ways of feed. If one part was down, you can come back down 16.
If 16 doesn't have
It is a
water, we
different
don't.
pressure plane. We would have to we'd have to put a pressure regulator type, a big one there to control that, but you would still have 2 feeds. Even if something was going on out 16, I could open that up and bring it off the Jennings to send on out 95. It would be lower pressure, but they would have water. And then if we had to do it the opposite, bring it off 16 back into town for some reason, it'd be a higher pressure, but we'd have to put a regulator in. And that's doable. It's just never been done that way. And it'd be a simple,
I'd do that.
in-house fix.
Put that on your 10-year,
yeah, I think in the engineering plans, it's not in there, but it'd be a simple, we could just do it while we were doing the project.
I'd do it.
Why would you even need a valve? Can you just wouldn't it just make a
You
loop
can't
there?
tie those two pressure planes together. We're talking about 100 pounds difference.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It'd take two things. You'd have to have one if you went lower up, and you'd have to have one if you went higher down,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Okay. That's,
We had a similar situation, it wasn't 4 feet, but over there on, Phase Forest Road, at the end of the water line, it's at the end of, well, where that fire hydrant is on the left. down
Yes.
there. Dickie even said he was gonna take that line and go on and hook it up into the.
And that's the same pressure plane. That wouldn't be an issue. It's all feeding off the same pressure plane.
He said
It would be, can make another loop. See, so of course, round through Honey Hills, that's fed two different directions. Honey Hills can be fed on 16 East, coming out from the bridge, the intersection right there with the cell barn. Or right now, the main feed, the way we're doing it, is coming down by our wastewater plant, down by Dr. Coward's office and out that way. That's the main feed right now for Honey Hills. So it can actually be fed two ways.
But there wouldn't be any advantage to go ahead and taking that water line over to Honey Hill and connect?
It would actually, yeah, you could actually feed, if you was to do that and it go on over to tie in, going out Burnt Ridge Road, then if you had a section of line that was out, you could vibe on 16, you might could still feed everybody without shutting off everybody on that 16. Because you could loop it
Dickie
around.
had that plan to do that, cause he was asking me about getting an easement, cause it goes across my property.
Yeah, and I know you and I had talked about that too.
Yeah.
But you know, there's a lot of small things we can do in-house too, just to show that we're making improvements. And multiple feeds we've seen by Pole Yard Project, multiple ways of feeding stuff keeps more customers in and less customers going out.
As the pole yard, the reason we're not using Parish Tank much anymore,
No. No, we're actually using Parish Tank the same amount that we always did. It's just that no one had ever brought to the attention of the health department that that was an issue until now. So with that, I've talked to the mayor and I've talked to a few other people. As of right now, I'm gonna present to the health department that I shut the Parish Tank off. And the reason is, this last month, we pumped 2.1 million gallons out on the ground, keeping that Parish Tank fresh. Health department is now requiring us to take daily tests on that. And when it gets down below a certain chlorine residual, we have to flush. It's good and bad. Yeah, I didn't know there was an issue, but there is 16 miles from the water plant to that Parish Tank that's a 16-inch line that has 22 customers on it. That's not a lot of customers for that much of water. Now, we are using that now, instead of having to flush all that line, twice a week, we're actually feeding the 16-inch line to the million gallon. That's the way we wanted to do it when we designed the Pole Yard project. So, and then we're swapping and running Pole Yard again, we're just swapping back and forth. The only thing that the Parish Tank is really needed for is, besides those 22 customers, which can be on the million gallon tank full-time, is fire protection for the school. There is no other customers, residential customers beyond that tank that's on it. So if we shut that down, then that fire protection just cuts off the million gallon, which also adds more pressure. Because the million gallon tank is about 10 PSI more than what the Parish Tank is.
Well, if we took the customers off the Parish Tank and set that tank just for firefighting, would we still have to?
I have to have it approved through the health department. If so, I'm thinking, and I proposed, I was talking to DL about that, just that way we had extra fire protection. If they would approve that we put a check valve, maybe a dual type check valve that was proven not to fail, and that would never come back in, then yes, I think that would be the way to go.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. But we are looking into ways to not be flushing that. And we've only had to flush that this last year because we had got inspected by the health department and it was brought up by a past employee and it was on our target and we had to start making it right.
anything else for Will? Okay, thank you. Brings it, if you need to jet, a long way to go. It brings us to zoning, Tim Clark.
Like DL said, I'm happy to see that the Mexican restaurant opened up that way. You know, in the last 6 months, I've said it's gonna open up next month, so I'm glad they got that done. I'm sure y'all noticed in front of First Service Bank, they've cut down trees and shrubbery, and they're doing a major remodel facelift on the bank, and a contractor has come and pulled a permit to do that. NBMC is the contractor, but they pulled a permit for that. The 911 backup call center up at the annex, I do have the plans for it. They haven't pulled a permit. I've had calls from different contractors, so I'm assuming they're bidding it out, and they haven't decided on who's gonna get the bid. Clinton Storage Solutions, I think we talked about this last time, they're gonna add another 208 units to their existing 350. And I don't have the engineer plans for that yet. They had some drawings, but there was an issue. When Will went out there and marked the water line, one of their units, they had to do away with it. It wasn't on the line, but it was way too close to that 16-inch water line. So, but I haven't got the engineer plans, and they haven't pulled a permit for that yet. Just a heads up, if all this comes to pass, we're gonna have plenty of RV parking in the city. We've got the one across from the hospital, and then I've got, I have the plans. No, I don't have the engineer plans yet for the one that's gonna go on 65B behind the forestry building. Right down here on 16, where they're clearing all that up and knocking those
CJ's
buildings.
and Tide Creason, Emerson.
That's what they've said. I mean, they have that small RV park there, and they've said the plan is to extend that RV park on that property. And, well, I got a call about another spot, but that's not, he didn't.
On that CJ's property, are they gonna pull the tanks up out of the ground?
I don't know.
Probably not. They're red tagged by the state. I dealt with the state on that when they was trying to make that into an apartment. The state said as long as the property owner was listed through the state and it remained red tagged, that they would check it twice a year, and they wouldn't have to pull those tanks because they're not leaking.
Okay. Do you know about the tanks over there by me? Are those been red flagged? The one that used to be Porter's
Oh,
gas
yeah,
station?
Gas station, they're next to you, the hair place?
Nobody owns that property.
No. I don't know.
I know, nobody owns it.
I mean, I don't know if they pulled the tanks out of it or not.
Yeah.
Usually if I get a call from the state wanting to know about tanks in the ground, I've never had a call about that property.
All right.
And last thing, I talked to Lee Schoner, and the new floodplain map models, they're finished with them. They'll go to FEMA next month for final approval process, which will take into next year sometime. So that's all I got.
Okay. That's all I had. Anything else for Tim? Thank you. That's the department head report. Brings down to unfinished business. The first one is the ordinance for excessive noise revised. We looked over, had a workshop and had a pretty good one, I think. And came up, we got rid of everything and got that in front of you. I think the way that I wanted to do this was put this on the first reading and read it and try to get, if you like that, we'll pass it and then put it on the second and third reading, but by title only. I think pretty much took care of all the issues that we had concerns, and we pretty much streamlined it. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion and second to put the ordinance on the first reading as amended.
To make a motion, we put ordinance on first reading as amended.
Second. And I'll read it. This is an ordinance of the city of Clinton, Arkansas to prohibit excessive noise in the city limits. Whereas the prohibition of excessive noise is necessary to protect the health and welfare of the city of Clinton. Now therefore be ordained by the City Council of the City of Clinton, Arkansas, Section 1, Title 7 of the Code Ordinances of the City of Clinton, Arkansas is hereby amended to add Chapter 7.09 as follows. Section 7.0801 through sections under General Prohibited Acts, Responsible Person, Exceptions, Penalties, and 7.0906 under Other Remedies. 7.0901 General, it shall be unlawful for any person to willfully make, continue, or cause, or to be made or continued any loud or raucous noise, which term shall mean any sound which, because of its volume level, duration, and character, annoys, disturbs, injures, or endangers the comfort, health, peace, and safety of reasonable persons of ordinary sensibilities within the city limits as defined below. 7.0902, prohibited acts. The following acts and the causing therefore are described to be in violation of this ordinance. A, radios, television, boom boxes, phonographs, stereos, musical instruments, and similar devices. The use or operation of radio, television, boombox, stereos, musical instruments, or similar device that produces or reproduces sounds in a manner that is plainly audible to any person other than the players or operators of this device, and those who are voluntarily listening to the sound and which unreasonably disturbs the peace, quiet, and comfort of neighbors and passers-by, or is plainly audible at the distance of 50 feet from any person in a commercial, industrial, or public area or space. The use or operation of a radio, television, boombox, stereo, musical instrument, or similar device that produces or reproduces sound in a manner that is plainly audible to any person other than the players or operators of the device, and those who are voluntarily listening to the sound and unreasonably disturbs the peace, quiet, and comfort of neighbors in residential or noise-sensitive areas, including multifamily or single-family dwellings. B, motor vehicle horns, signaling devices, and similar sound devices. The sounding of any horn, signaling device, or other similar device on any automobile, motorcycle, or other vehicle on any right-of-way or in any public space of the City of Clinton for more than 10 consecutive seconds. The sounding of any horn, signaling device, or other similar device as a danger warning is exempt from this prohibition. Sounding or permitting sounding of any amplified signal from any bell, chime, siren, whistle, or similar device intended primarily for non-emergency purposes from any place for more than 10 consecutive seconds in an hourly period. The reasonable sounding of such devices by houses of religious worship, ice cream trucks, seasonal contribution solicitors, or by the City of Clinton for traffic control purposes are exempt from the operation of this provision. The intentional sounding or permitting of sounding of outdoors of any emergency signaling device, including fire, burglar, civil defense alarm, siren, whistle, or similar emergency signaling device, except in an emergency or except as provided in subsections below. 1. Testing of an emergency signaling device shall occur between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. Any testing shall use only the minimum cycle test time. In no case shall such test time exceed 5 minutes. Testing of the emergency signaling system shall not occur more than once in each calendar month. Sounding or permitting of the sounding or exterior burglar or fire alarm or any other vehicle burglar alarm. That was number 2. Section C, animals and birds. Unreasonably loud and raucous noise emitted by an animal or bird for which a person is responsible. A person is responsible for an animal if the person owns, controls, or otherwise cares for the animal or bird. Sounds made by animals or birds in animal shelters, kennels, veterinarian hospitals, pet shops, pet kennels, or livestock and auction houses licensed under and in compliance with licensing and permitting provisions set forth by the City of Clinton are exempt from this subsection. 7.0903, responsible person, any person, owner, agent, or supervisor in charge of operating, ordering, directing, or allowing the operation or activity creating noise shall be guilty of a violation of this article and subject to the penalties. 0.0904, exceptions. A, the provision of this ordinance shall not apply to the emission of sound for the purpose of altering persons to the existence of an emergency or emission of the sound of performance of emergency work. B, the term loud and disturbing noise does not include noise or sound generated by the following. 1, radios, sirens, horns, and bells on police, fire, and other emergency response vehicles. 2, the testing of emergency tornado warning systems, sirens, horns, and bells. Number 3, public activities or in municipal parks, July 4th activities, Archie Fest, etc. County fairgrounds, school athletic facilities, sporting events, musical productions, parades, and other activities with the approval of the mayor or the city or the Clinton City Council. Number 4, the provision shall not apply to sound trucks duly licensed under the provision of any revenue ordinance or ordinance of the city in connection with political rallies. 5, fire alarms and burglar alarms prior to the giving of notice of a reasonable opportunity for the owner or tenant in possession of the premises served by any such alarm to turn off the alarm. And number 6, religious worship activities. 7.0905, the penalties, any person violating any provisions of this ordinance shall be deemed guilty of a misdemeanor upon conviction by the District Court of Van Buren County and shall be subject to the penalty of not less than $100 plus court costs and not more than $500 plus court costs. 7.0906, other remedies, no provision of this ordinance shall be construed to impair any common law or statutory cause of action or legal remedy therefrom of any person or for injury or damage arising from any violation of this ordinance or from other law. Section 2, savings and repeal. That all ordinances or parts of this ordinance in conflict with the ordinance are repealed to the extent of such conflict. Section 3, servability, that should any word, sentence, clause, paragraph, or provision of this ordinance be held to be invalid or unconstitutional, the remaining provisions of the ordinance shall remain in full force and effect. Is there any discussion on that? I think the only thing we've talked at quite a bit of length, I think that takes care of the loud music and also animals/birds at night.
In 70902, I did notice in B, part 2, or no, part 1, it says testing of the emergency signaling system shall not occur more than once in each calendar month. We do that weekly, don't
That
we?
was something we talked about in the meeting, and I missed it, I'm sorry.
Say that again. What was that?
I remember we brought it up.
Weather sirens.
Right. Yeah, the tornado sirens.
Yeah. So.
But now.
And I guess I missed it
I
the
think
first
we,
time.
well, and I think maybe at one point we figured
No,
out
it
that
said,
it was.
but the exceptions down here, you don't have to worry about it, because
Yeah,
in B2, it says the testing of emergency tornado warning systems are exempt.
that's right, that's right. Okay.
That, only thing I circled was the 50 feet, but I think we agreed in that meeting, you have to come up with some form of measurement
You gotta have, yeah.
from 7
What
a.m. to
we-
7 p.m.
What we did is we took the vehicle noise, which had a separate thing, which said you couldn't hear anybody's radio outside their vehicle, which I think people thought was a little unreasonable. And so we merged it with all the noise, all the music noise is all in the same one. Music, vehicle and house together, 50 feet.
Okay.
50 feet, and, yeah, that's the rule, so.
And you're not gonna test the tornado siren at midnight, so.
No. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
but
between,
it's exempt. The testing of the emergency tornado warning system is exempt from this.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember we talked about it, so yeah.
Are y'all comfortable with this?
Yeah, I mean, it's exempt, but I didn't know if that needed to be taken out.
It probably should be taken out for, it's kind of contradictory still.
Well, one part, it doesn't throw the whole deal out, so.
No, it's fine, if you take it, yeah. So testing the emergency signaling system shall not occur more than once a week.
Yeah.
So, and that, I mean, if someone wants to make that amendment, we can just,
Yeah, just say yes, if we can amend this amended version, say, motion second to approve this amended version,
So moved.
including this, yeah.
I'll second.
more than once in each week.
yeah.
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 Second, any other discussion? I'll ask for a vote.
Hastings,
Yeah.
Lynch,
Yes.
Pistol,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
I'll take, I entertain a motion second to put this on the second and third reading by title only.
So moved.
Ordinance of the city of Clinton, Arkansas to promote excessive noise, to prohibit excessive noise in the city limits.
I made a motion.
Second,
Second.
any other discussion? I'll ask for a vote.
Hastings,
Yeah.
Lynch,
Yes.
Pistol,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Williams.
This time I'll entertain a motion second to adopt the ordinance.
Make a motion, we adopt the ordinance.
Second.
Any other discussion? I'll call for a vote.
Hastings,
Yes.
Lynch,
Yes.
Pistol,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
2022-04.
What an emergency call, so that'll take effect, I guess, in a month. So thank you all very much, and thanks for the work on that. Brings us down to new business. Ordinance levying it's an ordinance levying millage at 2.9, be the first reading. Anything, a motion or a second to put that on the first reading?
I'll make a motion.
I second it.
I'd read it over here. Do you have to give me your?
Is this one you want? The levy?
Yeah.
You read it?
This is an ordinance levying a 2.9 mil and personal property tax for general operations of the city of Clinton, Arkansas, and for other purposes. Whereas the city of Clinton, Arkansas is required to pass an ordinance setting forth the millage rate for property taxes to be collected for the city of Clinton, Arkansas in the next year. And whereas the city of Clinton, Arkansas desires that property taxes for the year 2022 be set at the same level and assessed and collected in 2023. And whereas such an ordinance must be passed and provided to the Van Buren County Assessors and Collectors Offices by the time of the Van Buren County Court's November meeting. Now therefore be ordained by the City Council of the City of Clinton, Arkansas, Section 1. The City of Clinton, Arkansas hereby levies and assesses a 2.9 mil property tax on real property and personal property in Van Buren County as prescribed by law for the year 2022, which tax shall be collected by Van Buren County, Arkansas. Is there any discussion on that?
Yeah, I've got a question for Dina. Do we not have a CD anymore?
We have one CD
I couldn't find it in here.
and
My
Simmons.
Is it not in here?
I'm not sure.
I couldn't find it in my financial, I've been looking for it. You know offhand how much is in there?
Not offhand, 200-something thousand. Might be in this one. I don't know offhand, I can look it up though for you. Right here, Simmons Bank General Fund CD.
$284,520.72.
And my other question is, do we have any other money anywhere that's not budgeted? Like in our general bank account, I'm seeing a balance of $3 million.
Correct.
How much of that is budgeted and spent, already spoken for?
Well, I can't answer that, I mean, it just depends on what we spend it on, but that is the balance in the checking account.
Right, but
as of,
when I look at the budget on the general fund, I can't find a number that's, each department says you got this much of your
did
budget
you look at
left.
your statement of revenue and expenditures?
Yeah, I was looking through that, but where's the total at? I like to know where the total left in the budget for the years for the whole general fund. I looked at I can't find that.
It's at the very end, and it tells you right there.
At the very bottom?
Mhm.
Okay, which line are you looking at?
Current period.
It shows your bill, your beginning, and it shows your net change, and it shows you how much you have.
Says $37.22, not budget, basically. If you go to annual budget, January 2022 to December 2022, revenue less expenditures, you come up with $37.22. Net change in the fund balance, $37.22. That's what's not budget.
In the fund balance?
That would be the annual budget from January 2022 to December 2022. You got total expenses,
Okay, which PDF are you looking at? General fund, statement of revenue and expenditures?
right before you get to fund balances.
At the bottom. Okay.
Third line over,
Uh-huh.
it's the annual budget. Up at the top, it says annual budget. You go all the way down.
Right.
Only thing left after you get your budgeted stuff is $37.22.
That will be for like the 3 million though.
Right.
That's just for what we budgeted for the year.
For our budget for this year, which was a,
2022.
2.7.
yeah, and where's the total on that? The budget, what we budgeted for the year?
Well, it's not in this one, you have to add them up for
Right.
the general,
Mm-hmm.
because it has to be into each department, or we can't keep up with it, so we would have to add it up. I mean, I can add it up, that's not a problem.
Well, of the $3 million we have in the bank, you don't have any idea how much of it is not spoken for that we have available if
Oh,
we
it's
need it?
2.7, well, like 300,000, I think, I could be wrong.
On the bank statement?
I mean, no, I just,
No, it says at the bottom of that, it says,
Right, so it's not the $37.22.
You're gonna have to do each one, then you would add above it.
But it-
And water.
that's
And
what
then
I-
it all depends on
And then this is
what
street,
they
it's
spend.
I think it's right.
Now, that one, I read it wrong.
Yeah.
You should be able to go back to December, last December would be the year-end deal, and it should give you what happened last year total. But you'd have to add all those up together.
how much money did we carry over last year?
I mean, I don't know offhand, Jeff, if you'd have called me, I should have told you all that, if I look at my computer.
Well, on this 2.9 mil, I've been looking at this for the last 3 years.
Right.
It amounts to about $178,000 a year. In your opinion, can we do without that? Do we need that money? I mean, with the money we have, I mean,
Honest opinion, I think no, I would not do it, because when you start saying that you're gonna cut taxes, people don't think that you're cutting only city taxes. Whenever you tell me that you're gonna cut my city taxes, I'm gonna think everything that my tax statement for the city, I won't be paying. Because that's what a lot of people think. The
it doesn't
last
matter what
time,
they think. I'm saying, as a city, do we need the money? If we don't need the money, we need to give it back to the people. That's
We've
what I
been
think.
fighting for a fire station for 5 years. I think we need all the money we can get.
No, we've got the money to do the fire station.
How long we been doing the 2.9 millage?
It's been,
Since I came on,
it's been the same for a very
And
long
it can
time.
go all the way to 5, I believe.
lottery in June,
correct,
corn comes soon.
without a vote from the public.
I think we need to leave it just like it is, myself.
Well, we're gonna do this on 3 readings. I think y'all need to talk to some of your constituents and see what they think about it. Because I think we need to roll it back. We've got plenty of money, and,
I don't know that I'd say plenty of money.
yeah, we do.
Well, if we've got plenty of money, why'd we fight for a 10% tax on one restaurant for alcohol sales?
That handwritten.
We argued about that till we was blue in the
There's
face, and that don't raise
a
nothing.
deadline, correct, for us to pass
The
Yeah,
deadline is next.
The next
Meeting.
meeting,
it. So we really can't do 3.
Oh, we're not doing all 3 meetings?
Well, you won't be able to.
you'll have to
Pass
do
one.
the second.
Gotta be,
You'll
gotta
have
be turned
to.
in before their November meeting.
Yeah, if you're gonna do one, you're gonna have to, or you're gonna have to have a
Do
special
all-
meeting,
yeah.
you're gonna have to have a special meeting before you get 3 readings, you know.
Well, the worst case scenario, I mean, it's only for a year. You come back next year and say, well, we shouldn't have done that, let's put it back on there, or, you know, but.
The only major problem that I see with that is if you take,
You take it off
if you
this
take it
year,
off, everybody's gonna be, all right.
and then you
If
put
it back on a year later,
The tax.
they're about 10 times as mad as if you'd have left it on there to begin with.
Okay,
I think they would be.
we've been talking about some type of building. If we don't necessarily think we need it, we could take it off. Let's put $200,000 into a building for the community. Towards a building or whatever, and then next year, we got $200,000 we can put in that building again.
So you're saying,
And we can earmark it
so you
to,
want to earmark the property tax money for the fire station?
no, to a
He didn't say
community
fire
building.
station.
For a
He said
city.
community
a
building.
city
building.
building.
Something for the community.
I've been saying it for 3 months.
You can't build something for the community for that amount of money.
I'm just saying we can put it in there and earmark it, and we got ARPA money, we've got this money, you know. If you think that people love, you know, the city could not take that $200,000 hit and it'd be okay. Let's take that $200,000 and put it in, earmark it, so it's stuck out, and then next year,
We add to it again.
we can add to it
And
again.
then you could build something.
You can make a
And we can turn it into, you know,
You can make a pretty good payment with $170,000 a year,
I mean,
if you had to finance it,
I'm
even if you had
not-
to finance to build a building.
I'm not a fan of trying to help, you know, I'm not a fan of trying to pull that money just because we think we don't need it, because we're always, you know, always
Well, I
gonna
mean,
need
it's
it.
all I ever hear from people is taxes always go on, but they never come off. And I'm offering y'all a chance to do something and take the tax off for the people. If it don't work out, put it back on.
I know my constituents that I've heard from different people in the city, they keep saying that they need another 1/4% or 1/2% sales tax.
You had a constituent tell you they want another 0.5%, so I'd like to
That
know
we
that.
need it.
I'd like to meet that person, because I've never met
I can-
anybody that said they wanted another 0.5%. So.
I can bring him to you, I can bring them to you. I'm saying, you know, that's,
So you got one.
no, I can bring in multiple. That's saying that we are needing to add tax right now to do different things in the city.
Well, we've got
Talking
this,
about adding
this
another
property tax,
0.5%
we're not
sales
doing
tax.
anything with it, it's going into the general fund. And
But we're
if y'all
using
want to
it.
earmark it for something, that'd be fine, but just to continue to collect the money when we have plenty of money, I think it's ridiculous.
What's the 10%?
We're still using it.
What's the 10% from the alcohol sales for Latitude earmarked toward? Is it earmarked toward anything? Then
Yeah, but
that's,
we're talking about a different kind of tax. We're talking about property tax, you have no choice to pay it or you lose your property.
I'm talking
And
about
you're talking about
$2,000.
alcohol where you get to go down and have a drink that you don't probably need and.
I'm
you just
talking
don't pay
about
it.
$2,000 versus $200,000. There's a
Yeah, but it's
little
not the same
difference.
kind of a tax. You're not comparing apples to oranges.
And
Everybody pays property tax that owns property, they don't have a choice.
And I'm
Not everybody has to go down to
I'm
the
gonna say the
restaurant
same
and have a
thing
beer.
I've said every year, that $10 to $100 is not gonna break somebody and make them lose their land. But the $1,000 or $200 to $2,000 the county and school and everybody else takes would probably do it. But our 10% isn't gonna make nothing, not even 2%.
Right, but if somebody doesn't start a trend, say, hey, let's work on taking property taxes down. Sales tax is all we need, because sales tax is what, sales tax produces the money. I mean, everybody who drives through here and spends $1 pays our tax.
Yes, and my proposal to that would be, my option, or in my opinion, would be if you wanna cut that and not have no property tax, then we need to go up 1/4% or something on our sales tax to offset that change. And then not just the city's paying it, everybody that drives up and down the road. I mean,
But our property taxes for the city are staying the same. The counties have not stayed the same.
yeah,
The counties have went up.
and like I said, we're at 2.9 and we could be 3%, 5%, five mil.
And that
We could be
millage,
5 mil.
if somebody comes in here with a big factory and they buy a lot of, $1 million property, that's a lot of money. And that's an incentive for somebody to come to the city of Clinton. Yes, they're still gonna pay county property tax, but that 2.9 mil on the city is an incentive to come here and spend money in our community and maybe bring us some jobs. That's all I heard the other night at the debate was, we need to get some jobs in here. Well, you're gonna have to do something. You have to give people an incentive to wanna come here.
That's,
You gotta start somewhere.
that's why we need a
As
city
a council, that's
park.
something we can actually do. We can actually say, hey, we're gonna roll our property tax back, come to Clinton, it's a friendly place, we don't charge you property tax.
But if you're not
Anyway.
sure that we don't need it. and
We
you're
don't
saying-
need it, we
if
don't
you're-
need it.
If you're. let me
At this
finish.
moment, we don't.
If you're saying that, let's take it off for a little while, but we may have to add it back later, you're
You
making a
can't do
mistake.
it. No.
You're making a mistake. If you think you're ever gonna have to add it back,
I don't
it's a
think we'll
mistake.
add it, but,
We don't know what the economy.
Thinking and knowing are two different things.
yeah.
6 months down the road.
If you have to go back to the people and say, well, we messed up by taking the prop tax off and now we need to put it back on, it's gonna be a major problem. Those people that loved you for taking it off are gonna hate you twice as bad for putting it back on. I mean, that's just simple.
Yeah, but I don't
That's
think,
a fact.
how's $178,000 gonna make or break the city of Clinton? We got a $2 million budget.
No, but it sure
Not saying it will.
could, sure could build a building. It could start.
There's a lot of things that
frame.
it could do, for
I mean, there's
sure.
things that our whole council needs to do to help out the community more than just $10 on property tax.
It might be $10 for you, but it's not
You're
$10
saying,
for
yeah,
everybody.
It's a big, it's a lot of money. Any other, I don't want to interrupt.
Well, we can finish it at the next meeting when we,
I'll make a motion to approve, or
Yeah, we got a motion and second to put it on, any other discussion? On the first reading, a call for a vote. To leave it as is, that's what's on the table. I'll ask for a vote.
Hastings,
Yes.
Lynch,
yes.
Pistol,
no.
Ward,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Thank you. Brings us to a resolution amending the city and rescue grant budgets, ARPA funds. It's an order, resolution amending the city and rescue grant budgets for the purpose of claiming police and fire salaries, employer payroll contribution, and health insurance. I'll just read this. Whereas the American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA, which was signed into law on March the 11th, 2021, provides fiscal relief funds to state and local governments and other program areas aimed at mitigating and continuing effects of the pandemic. And whereas ARPA provides support to local governments in responding to the impact of COVID-19 and their efforts to contain COVID-19, it created several eligible uses of the funding, including one to address revenue replacement for cities and towns. And whereas the United States Department of Treasury on January 6, 2022, issued a final rule hereinafter FR regarding the use of ARPA funds, and whereas the FR permits cities and towns to utilize revenue replacement for government services up to a standard allowance of up to $10 million or the total amount of a city's grant award, whichever is less. And whereas the FR permits cities and towns to utilize revenue replacement for government services and is expressly included the provision of police, fire, and other public safety services in a list of non-exclusive enumerated uses for revenue replacement. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Clinton, Arkansas, Section 1. The city hereby appropriates the city's the portion of the American Rescue Plan Act funding, a total amount of $312,183.99 for police and fire salaries, employer payroll contribution expenses, and health insurance for the date range from January 1, 2022 to September 30, 2022. Section 2, the City Council directs the mayor and/or the city clerk to move the expenditures for the police and fire salaries, applicable employer contributions, and health insurance from the city budget to rescue grant and pay the city general fund for the expenses from the rescue grant. The city's 2022 budget is hereby amended by decreasing the expenditures in the amount of $312,183.99, and the 2022 rescue grant budget is hereby amended by increasing the budget in the amount of $312,183.99 for the police and fire expenditures. Section 3, on the mandatory annual reports, the police and fire expenses shall be reported under expenditure category EC number 6.1 entitled Revenue Replacement. Dean, I'll let you.
Okay, I thought that we would have all of it, we didn't, because whenever I ran my report, it was adding it twice, it was adding every single item, and then it was taking my totals and adding it a second time. So, we only came up with $312,183.99 that we can move right now, and our checking account as of October the 7th was $523,885.52. So we can do it, all of this now for this, and then if we want to do more, like for October, November, we can, or we can start back next year and take it till we get the rest of it, and then we can move it over.
You've got till 2024 or something, right, to use it.
To actually say what you're gonna do with it, which we already know
Yeah.
on this part.
And how much is left? Is it 570 and so?
It's $523,885.52 is what the total was,
Well,
and
if
then,
2 was a 7, that would help.
$211,000.
Okay, so big chunk of it.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions or discussion?
It's gonna be moved in the general fund to pay for this right now.
it's gonna be just moved into general fund.
Because it's already
And then y'all
been
can
paid,
decide, yes, because I've already paid payroll, all the health insurance, all the employer taxes and stuff. So then we'll just move it to general, and then y'all can decide what you wanna do with it.
Now, there's an extra $500,000.
We don't get that every year.
That's why
We got it now.
That's
it's a one-time bill.
It's a one and done.
Any other discussion?
Quit spending so much money, we'll have some.
I'll call for a vote.
And we gotta have a motion.
Yeah.
So, oh, I'm sorry, I thought we had a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second,
Second. Any other discussion?
third,
I apologize. I'll ask for a vote.
Hastings,
Yes.
Lynch,
yes.
Pistol,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
2022-16.
Both of them pieces, we would have a building built.
As far as getting together with the animal shelter, we've got that figured out. A budget workshop with Sean and Jeff and Tim, the department heads.
Is Tim gonna be there?
What's that?
Is Tim gonna be there?
I can't hear you.
Is Tim gonna be there?
Oh, yeah, I hope so. That'll be Tuesday the 25th, or there's an A&P October the 27th, Thursday, or Tuesday, November the 1st. Any of those? Get with me
27th.
after the,
27th, 2 of us will be here.
like the 27th?
Be fine with me.
Yeah.
3.
What time?
Yeah.
6?
The A&P is when, A&P usually is
Six.
Last Thursday of the month.
what,
Starts at 6.
6.
6:30? 6:30, is everybody good? We'll stick with 6:30.
That's 27th.
Yes,
27th.
27th.
Did you have something, Charles?
Yeah, don't we have some more old business on
Jay
raising?
or Dale, help me out.
We got some more old business on raising that $2,000 limit to,
Oh, I was gonna, now that 2,000, it's at 5. It's at 5, isn't it?
yeah,
Didn't
I think
raise
we
it
have
to
one
5?
more reading to pass it, didn't we?
I think we passed it special meeting.
And I was gonna leave it at 5 till just to the end of the year. You know, I mean, there's nothing, I don't see anything.
Done in the past.
Yeah, I think it's passed.
That was, we had that special meeting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, you
We
did?
we did,
That was what
we
it
did.
Yeah.
We just didn't tell you.
Good.
Secret.
That's a
But,
good
and
thing.
I would
Squirrel.
say, I just left it at 5, I'm fine with that. Any public comments, which includes obviously the council,
Yeah, I got something.
Sammy?
I noticed their, sign up north of town, welcome to Clinton, has never been put back ever since they built the road. It's for Project Mark's deal, but I'd like to see it put back.
We've got chunks of that already.
I have the welcome to McClinton, I have the pictures and everything all put up, so once we get our billboard thing built, then we can come back on.
Well, that's fine, we can get the guy back there and tell us where
Where
we
right
can.
away it is and all that stuff. And do we need to get with the guy, that property owner, don't we?
Wendell Lee or?
Yeah, whoever owns that, and make sure and get,
I think there's one right past it.
Well,
We'll do
that-
it.
that all
Past
changed.
the slaughterhouse.
It's in the house. Move it on up. Put it-
That's all we did.
All right, we'll do that, I'll lock that down.
And they've had to replace them like 3 times this
We'll let you know where we're at on that next meeting.
Figured that.
Yeah, I mean, that's.
Anything else?
That's a limit, that's a limit there. It's like you get that at home.
Thank you all very much. My comments, a lot of people passed away. I think Scott's dead, I think James Solomon passed away. Tim Barnes is traveling tonight, I don't know, his son-in-law's not doing well, let's keep him in mind. Miss Gilmore, who was Matt's mom, who was 98. Opal A-Day was 101, lost some really good people. Hope Corrine's doing better. Appreciate everybody's concern for my mom, it was a big turnout, the city sent some really nice stuff. Got a lot of nice cards and letters from all y'all. It really means a lot to me and my family. They were overwhelmed at the amount of people in Clinton who reached out to us. We're very grateful for that. Thought the homecoming was crazy successful. Everybody involved, Charles did great, Mark Story. Everybody at the Chili had booths out there. It's a great event. It's going to be the chuck wagon races of folks coming back to Clinton downtown. Downtown's alive again, so thank you. Burn ban's still on. That's all I got. Remember to get out on the 8th and vote for your candidate of choice. The only place on the planet that we can go do such things. So we the people make a difference. So thank y'all all. Have a good, safe rest of the month. If nothing else, I'll entertain a motion second to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Stand adjourned.